you told something about certain conditionings, how we start to identify with them, and how it creates like a body feeling, and then we think we're dead, so we become really solidified, and yeah, that really hit me, and because I've been trying to do a lot of deconditioning by meditation and non-duality, and up until really recently, like a few days ago, I kind of woke out in some certain feelings, and that totally changed my relationship to those feelings. It felt like I was so I'm really I feel other people's feeling really strongly, for the better or the worse. It's like kind of say I think it's a personality thing, and it's like also a trauma thing, and um, but and I kind of operated. I really relied on that so much to navigate myself into the world, and also and it's really helped me. Uh, like for example, when I find a new teacher, I just looked how I to his energy or her energy, and um, if I felt I could trust them, I deeply knew I could trust them. So I really um, a lot of my political views and things like that are really based on how if I could trust a person, if I look at them, if I could see or hear him or her speak, if that makes sense. I really pick up on the energy really strongly, if that makes sense. And so really recently I woke up a little bit out of that because it wasn't serving me anymore. It was kind of limiting myself. And when you were just saying that about the feelings, the contractions, the conditionings, along with the other part that I've found out for myself, I really thought, oh my God, there is like a lot of freedom to recondition myself to make new habits. It's kind of like this whole body is kind of like a pure conditioning machine. They're like, it's almost like there's only karma, if that makes sense. There's only conditionings, and I'm struggling with a lot of deep hopelessness. So I can have like big hopelessness attacks where I get completely I can't even think. I can't even see possibilities to come out, and that's really it drives me to strong suicidal ideation a lot of the times. But hearing you talk, I thought, okay, I can really change this. And my question to you is, how would you approach that? How would you balance like changing that, but also like respecting your own feelings, like respecting where you are now? Because there's a lot of pain, when you try to do change. That's the problem for me. When you try to do change, there's so much pain. How do you approach something like that?
My immediate response is, I don't know. But again, I might be taking it too literally. I have to sometimes like try to get out of the literalness of the question and try and think of it more creatively. Like I don't know how somebody irons out their karmas. Like I've got suggestions of things that I've done and things I have read about and know have helped other people. But one thing that I learn from working with people and continuously humbled by is that it's so different for everybody. Like what changes their conditioning and their karma and their habits. Like the big change is like the waking up, is like really seeing who you are, and really like an energy, what I would call an energetic shift. Like that is the collapse of seeking, you know. So really being contented with what you are now as this. And then the other part, like I just feel like, if I'm really honest, I don't know. I don't know, like if we had a one-to-one session together and you came with a particular problem, I would explore it with you. But I would constantly be changing the way I'm working dependent on your responses. And it's like an intuitive thing and a learned thing. So it's like what I feel in the moment, but it also comes from like years and years of knowledge of this subject, like an obsessiveness of this subject. I mean, my biggest advice to someone is to work closely with someone that's into non-duality and working with the personal dynamics. That would be my biggest advice, I think, because when you're working on yourself, you know, like it's really great to work on yourself in the privacy of your own home, but there's always the possibility for hiding. And what I notice people do is they repetitively tell the same story to themselves, and they don't realize that they are doing that. So they're having a realization about a feeling, but they've been having that realization for years, and they don't really realize that they're doing it again and again and again. But when you're working with someone repetitively, then they can point this out to you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and that's something I noticed also within myself. It's like it's so hard to break out of a certain pattern. And even admitting it to yourself is like, because I'm so defensive about so much stuff, like I'm sometimes I'm relying on non-duality to fix certain things, or like and then when people challenge that a little bit, I can feel this defensiveness, and it's barely there. It's like I can up until really recently I can perceive it, and that's so shocking to me that all those months or years, it's apparently so deep that I can't even see it, that I'm defensive about certain things. So it's kind of shocking to me that how how this mechanism is so hard, trying so hard to not change, if that makes
Yeah, sure. The most important part, though, is that this is it. So that person which you're imagining now, that has this defensiveness for many years and been hidden and is very subtle, this is all imagination that completely doesn't exist now. Completely. So yeah, it's good to recognize these dynamics, and this is what's great working with someone. But at the same time, that completely doesn't exist. There is this aliveness here, and then there is a habit of the mind that keeps repeating a story of you, making it seem like there is something solid here. But the you is like a film, like the old-fashioned films, where you get lots of pictures put together very quickly, giving the appearance of somebody, but there's not an actual somebody there. So there is this film playing of you, and then you want to fix this defensiveness, and that's really noble and that's really great, and I'm not against that, but it's appearing in a freedom that's already here, that's expansive, that's huge, that's large, that's still, that's never ending, that has no complaint. And that's who you are. That's what's perceiving now. That is the perceiver and the perception. There's the subject and the object. It's here right now in this, as this. It has no complaint against anything. What does that do? What does that do when I say that? I could imagine that could bring up defensiveness in you.
No, it doesn't ring.
Yeah.
It rings. I don't know. I just look, and there's nothing.
Yeah,
There's
yeah, yeah.
nothing. The message does. It kind of brings me back to this. It, I don't know what to say. It kind of brings me. It not even brings me back. It kind of like lets me look to this emptiness.
Yeah, this vastness, like
And
we're all standing on this big black hole of nothing.
yes, but I just find it a little bit too annoying yet. Like my conditionings that are in the body yet, they're just a little bit too annoying, and I just don't want to. It's kind of like something's. I don't want to look completely. I don't want to. Yeah.
Not exist. Because who would you be if you didn't exist?
Yeah, well, when you say all those things, there's like a movement. For me, it's not really scary. For me, it's like it's moving my energy body to something peaceful, alive.
And so what you think is that it's moving your energy to something peaceful and alive, but actually it's just that peacefulness is coming forward more. Like, so there isn't something that's being moved to that. There isn't something that's getting anything. It's just that this aliveness, which is this freedom, which is like coming forward more, like here I am, which is in everything. And it's never really been behind, but it's just seemingly been behind because the person has taken up so much space. Person is like big, massive Jabba the Hutt. How do you say that? Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars, like.
Jabba the Hutt, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, nice, cool.
Then the person's like, give me, like Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah,
like, and then here it is.
Yeah. And also taken or claimed, and then it goes back to the person. It's like,
Yeah. Person wants. I want something I want a pleasure. I want something to dull this down. It's not what you want. What you want is this. Always what you want is this.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, this is a little bit, maybe a little bit, a sensitive topic. It's about my own feelings of suicide. I don't know if that's appropriate to talk about.
Yeah, most probably not on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, just because we don't know the people that are in the audience and how vulnerable they are or not.
Yeah, that's also why I'm asking. That's
yeah,
fine.
thank you so much for asking that. I mean, I used to when I was younger and first got into this, like went for every subject and didn't care, but then, like, not because I didn't care about other people, but just because I just didn't care, like I didn't think about it. And then as I met people and learned over the years, I realized there's a lot of vulnerability.
Yeah.
But thank you for being willing to speak about it. That's very brave of you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Yeah, I just love. I really. It's difficult to. There are some pains I need to go through. Still, and it's really nice to be able to touch this, to have some little bit access to this feeling of what's spoken about, and that that feels nice. Yeah. Well, I don't got any more questions.
No, thanks.
For the things what you're saying said today, I'll bring it with me, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Hans. It was really lovely to speak with you.
And by the way, I really like. I've spoken to you I think like a couple of times the last month, and I really like you pointing non-duality out to me. Every time it felt really. yeah, it felt special every time.
Oh,
So
nice.
thank you for that.
Yeah, with pleasure, Hans. It's always a joy to speak with you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, have a nice stream.
Thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.